Speedrunning, one of the ultimate achievements for a gamer. How fast can you beat a game? It's no secret that Dark Souls is my favorite game of all time, and what better way to show my love and appreciation for it by playing as little of it as possible, right? I've attempted a speedrun or two in the past, but it never amounted to much. I never took it seriously. I never grabbed Dark Souls by the firebombs and gave it my all. So my goal, lock in for 1 week and attempt to get a sub 1 hour time in Dark Souls. Remastered. Any percent. Glitchless. Sounds easy, right? This video is also sponsored by War Thunder, but more on that later. On the dawn of the first day, I was optimistic and determined to set a baseline for my skills, and also see how much of the run I could actually remember. I made my splits in Live Split, opened up my drop mod, and got to work. I'll get this out of the way at the beginning. Speedrun.com now accepts drop mod runs, so you don't have to reset for halberd RNG every time. Thank you, speedrun.com. I'll get into more of the run specifics as we go, but basically the route is as follows. Pick the Hunter class with the Master Key starting gift and stop, I see you in the comments. Isn't Thief with black firebombs faster? No. Hunter, Master Key, kill the ass demon, and then we make our way down to New Londo. We have to get to the Valley of the Drakes anyway, so going through New Londo, 2 birds, 1 stone. Ingward goes goodbye, break the seal, and pick up the red tearstone ring, then we jump down and pray we don't get obliterated by the Drakes. Then go up to the basin, get the halberd and grass-crest shield, and we're off to the gargoyles. Put those things out of their misery, and then it's a short trip to Quelaag, and then through Sens to Iron Golem. That hits? That's crazy. Ornstein and Smo are technically the next boss, but the Rafters sure put up a fight. The Anor-Londo dynamic duo is defeated, and then we pop Guinevere's right son to get the Lord Vessel. It's faster. After placing the Lord Vessel, we hit up Seath in the Crystal Caves, then Nito and his Bone Bros firebomb cheese the heck out of the Bed of Chaos, and then finish up with the 4 Kings. Finally, open the door to the kiln and parry the heck out of Gwyn. After a full day of running, and many red splits later, our D-Rust run comes to, oh boy, 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 42 seconds. This should be fun. Yippee! Look at the sum of best. 1 hour and 1 minute. That means it's doable. With the D-Rust run under my belt, it was time to go even harder on day 2. And day 2 kind of felt like a waste. I could not stop resetting. Anytime I was slightly inconvenienced, I would take it from the top. If you're gonna speedrun, don't be like me. Don't be greedy for those golden splits. Just finish your damn runs so you can practice the whole game. If you keep resetting in the beginning, you'll never practice the end enough. This route does have a bit of a unique feel to it. I think any Dark Souls glitchless runner will tell you that the hardest part of the run is the first 15 minutes. It's not necessarily smooth sailing after that, but it's less RNG focused. In the first 10 minutes of the run, you have to pray to the RNG of the Drakes, then you have the lead up to the gargoyles, the corridor of doom and despair, then you have the guards themselves that can be a bit tricky, and then one of the harder skips in the game to get us to Quelaag, and then Quelaag herself. I was greedy for the time save. I mean, let's be real, I still am, but looking back at myself, just finish your runs, bro. I feel like my mom telling me to finish my vegetables before I can play with my rescue heroes. Just finish your greens. Just finish your runs. At the end of day 2, I finally committed to a run, and another red carpet of splits left me at a final time of 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 40 seconds, which, honestly, a big improvement from day 1, but I still wasn't implementing optimal routes, strategies, or anything. It was also becoming clear to me that my biggest time loss clearly was dying. A no-death run could honestly get me close to sub-hour even without the crazy stuff. $120, still sub hour and a half, which is crazy. I felt like that run sucked. Not too shabby. I mean, pretty shabby, but not too shabby, you know? On day 3, I decided to smarten up and create save states so I could practice each segment individually. Being able to have easy access to redo a skip or a boss would be integral to my practicing. Repetition, 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 baby. In order to make these save states, I decided to do a full run with no death on. And with no death on, I noticed something. I was playing way more confidently. I was invincible. I had no fear. I was like Kratos, god of war. I was Thor, god of thunder. Wait, is this a segue?
That's right, a segue to introduce this video's sponsor, War Thunder, which is available for free on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, mobile devices, and is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever created. Join forces with over 95 million players in epic battles and delve into the immersive experience of War Thunder. With an unmatched variety of high-quality content, there's simply no game better tailored to fans of military history. Take command of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships of 10 major nations, ranging from relics of the past to absolute battle-ready units of the modern age. Deal big damage on the battlefield with 3 modes. Arcade gives you fast-paced matches with simplified physics, while Simulator mode takes off the training wheels for tactical gameplay. And there's Realistic mode, which is a perfect middle ground between intensity and authenticity. Dive into the combat of War Thunder, where the detailed vehicles, stunning graphics, and authentic sound effects thrust you behind the wheel of some of the most powerful war machines ever made. My favorite feature? You don't need any extra hardware to get started. Drive any tank and fly any aircraft with nothing but your mouse and keyboard or controller, even in simulator mode. Play War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile devices by using my links in the pinned comment or description below. New and returning players on PC or console that haven't played in the last 6 months will also receive a bonus pack that includes premium vehicles, 100,000 silver lions, 7 days of premium account, and more. The offer is only available for a limited time, so claim yours today. Thank you again to War Thunder for supporting the channel, and now back to the video.
I made a save state at the start of every segment of the run and was able to finish with a time of 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 12 seconds. But obviously I do not count this run. I had no death on and save scummed a few times. But that's showbiz, baby. What did I say though? Simply not dying would get me much closer to that sub 1 hour time. I spent the rest of that day practicing the gargoyles and Blighttown skip. A lot. They seemed to be my biggest roadblock in the early game, and after a few hours of putting in the reps, I felt more confident in my ability to clear them. But little did I know, the real practice wouldn't start until day 4. Yo!
Hey, what's up?
On day 4, I would be joined by one of the best Dark Souls players of all time, QQ. QQ currently has the world record in Prepare to Die edition any percent, and at the time of making this video, he has beaten the game in 19 minutes and 14 seconds. He does things like ladder storage, he hits the Pendulum jump, and he also has a former world record in the category that I'm running, 45 minutes and 39 seconds, so he knows what he's talking about. The idea for this video is 8 months old at this point. I had talked to QQ previously about molding me into a semi-adequate Dark Souls runner, and the time has finally come. He was about to fill my poor little brain with so much information I'd likely explode, but I was determined to soak it all in like those Mormons I see on TikTok. Buckle up, gamers, cause it's time for the nitty-gritty strats from the mouth of a pro. This is my Luke moment, and QQ is my Yoda. There were habits that I had built up in my short time of running the game that were hindering me from progress, and skips I still hadn't learned. That, and being able to use RTSR on more bosses. Professor Q taught me a lot of tips and tricks that I'll break down during the run, but the main focuses of Dark Souls Running 101 was a consistent early game, getting the halberd easily, run up to the gargoyles, keeping the clams out of Seath's crystal cave, the most intimidating thing in the entire run, ceaseless skip. Since I'm only aiming for sub-hour and not breaking any records here, we decided to omit Red Tearstone Ring for Nito and the Four Kings. For obtaining the Black Knight Halberd, there are a few options. My runs usually consist of me running up to the asshole, parrying him, and running around for a backstab. I take the backstab instead of the parry because it launches him further and it's easier to let gravity do the trick. There's also a strategy where you can quit out near the Grass Crest Shield and pray to RNG that you can make him walk off himself, but the method that QQ taught me for runs is consistent even if it can be a bit slower. If you run past the Black Knight and up the hill a little bit, you can jump out to a small patch of stable ground and plunge attack to stop yourself. And then it's just a waiting game for him to realize I'm out of his reach and end it all. Then you can jump back to safety and grab the shield. This setup quite literally blew my mind, and it's my favorite part of the entire run. And then it was time for the worst part of the run, getting to the Bell Gargoyles. And lucky me, the Red Tearstone Ring is required for this fight. It's so fun. At least I'm justified in my complaint that it's the worst part of the run. Those damn hollows before the boss arena can really just decide to end your run every time. In a perfect world, we run up to the Big Bad Knight, backstep his overhead slam to get into RTSR range, grab the Firekeeper Soul, and run up the stairs. Stay to the side to make the Balder Knight have a skill issue and run into the gank room. Ideally, we stop and turn to block one attack from each of the close hollows, and this timing will make it so that the one coming from the next room simply backs off and we're home free. Contingencies include getting hit once from the Balder Knight while blocking with the sword in case we get a suboptimal attack from the big guy, as well as one-hand shield bashing the hollow in the doorway if the timing is off. Also, just dying 90% of the time. That's another option. One of my biggest fears in the run was Seath, the boss, yes, but also the run-up and those damn clams waiting to waltz into the arena and throwing off my groove. Seath is more or less a DPS race, and the more you have to shift your attention away from the boss, it leaves room for more clams to cause chaos. The run-up was precise, but I was taught a fairly consistent strategy to at least try to keep them out of my way. Just after the second invisible path, we run up to the start of this crystal and then walk from the beginning to the end in order to draw in the clams. At the other end of the crystal, cut right around this clam that runs at us, and hope and pray, and also hope they all get stuck on it, preventing boss room pandemonium. Also, I needed our TSR for Seath, so it was a bit of a scary jog to the fog. In my runs thus far, I had been killing Mr. Discharge because ceaseless skip, well, it's scary, and it's always better to play it safe than not have to run back, right? Well, yeah, but if I wanted a good time, I had to take a few risks. And with the time it takes to kill the perpetual gooner, I could fail the skip once or twice and it still be faster. So QQ painstakingly taught me the skip. I did it over and over until it was drilled into my skull. First, we use an arrow to distract and kill the Capra Demon waiting at the end. It would be a lot harder to Neo my way through the lava damage if I also had a goat man with two swords running at me. We get into a very precise position and use a bow to first make the character do a 180, then we aim at this little dark spot in the roots and start shooting an arrow, but interrupt it by rolling once forward, once backward, and once forwards again. Rolling while aiming with a bow locks you into 4-directional movement, so it's easier to be consistent. There are safe spots in the lava, so even if it looks like my feet are burning to a crisp, apparently, we're good. From the initial roll down, we take a step forward and roll, and then another roll at this weird claw-shaped texture. Then we walk up to this patch of red texture and do 2 rolls forward, and then run across the rock and down through the lava to the next one poking out. Then we line up our foot with the red line on the rock and aim with our bow just to the right of the whoosh. I don't know what to call it, I always just say the whoosh. But regardless, from here, it's 2 rolls forward and 1 roll to the right to make it up the next rock. The following part is always the hardest for me, but we run across this rock and jump to the next patch of lava safety, but I always get scared and jump too early. From here, we inch our way forward until our right foot is on this yellow line, and QQ had a setup for this, but it never clicked for me, so honestly, I go off vibes. It's 3 rolls from here to the next rock, and then we run and wiggle our way onto the top and jump to the other side. Simple, right? So simple. I bothered QQ for 4 hours and picked his brain about everything I could possibly think of, and at the end of our session, I did another no-death run with everything I had learned in our time together, and wound up with a time of 58 minutes and 24 seconds. Absolutely the best run that I had had so far, and I was determined to do it again for real, no cap. And I asked QQ one last important question. What time do you think I could get if I do this for another, checks notes, 4 days?
This?
58:24?
Yeah.
In all seriousness, QQ was a game changer for this challenge. Please go check him out on Twitch and on YouTube. He's constantly running his category and smashing his own record. Sub to QQ. I was riding the high of the previous day and feeling good about my ability to obtain my sub-hour time. I started the day off with another no-death run and got myself another sub-hour, which was even more motivating. I played a lot more confidently without the fear of getting absolutely laid out or becoming the victim of the most insanely brutal RNG. I practiced more of what QQ taught me the day previously, but when it was time for the real runs, they were less than ideal. Gold splits, followed by getting chomped on by a clam. No! Oh my gosh. And then the next run died to the biggest strafing skill issue of my career. Bro, I don't know how to strafe that one. I should have rolled. After 2 runs making it to Anne Orlando fizzled out, I was beginning to lose hope. Until day 6. On the 6th day, it was a shorter stream, but that's all I needed. I booted up the game and began what I like to call the run. Once again, we choose Hunter as the starting class, Master Key, and shout out to QQ again for making me a blue character preset. And before you ask why I blew myself, why not? Buckle up, gamers. And if you made it this far and want to see my PB without me yapping over it, go check it out on Burd VODs. Stamina management. Stamina management. We believe Well, I'm glad one of us does. I unequip everything at the start of the run and clear the broken sword out of my inventory at the door to the ass demon. This just keeps the inventory less cluttered for later. Managing stamina is one of the most important parts of the run, so I'm always doing my best to never run out and never be full without running. How much time does scroll wheel Oscar dialogue save? Probably like a few seconds, right? I trigger the boulder to break the wall and then chat with Oscar to get the key and my Sunny D. Yes, it's faster to talk to Oscar. No, it's not faster to kill him. After collecting the goodies, I opened the door and roll as soon as I'm lined up with the message on the ground. This aggroes the first hollow faster, and in a perfect world gives me the ability to weave between all my foes and get to the fog gate to fight the first boss. Bro. Frick off. Cooked, we're cooked! For the Asylum Demon, we want to do a jumping R2 off the balcony for the plunge attack. This makes the plunge attack hit twice and deal more damage. And during that animation, we also equip arrows into our inventory. After landing on the ground, the optimal RNG is to do 2 R1s and then strafe around the demon's right side to get behind it. Finally, the fight gets finished off with 3 R1s and an R2. We then leave the asylum, also making sure to quit out after opening the door to save that sweet in-game time. Usually, when you get to Firelink, you'll get a message saying you can level up at bonfires, which prevents you from sprinting. But if you hold the gesture button and mash start during that cutscene, you can bypass the message and get moving. In Firelink, I collect the firebombs and humanity, and then it's off to New Londo Ruins. On the elevator, it's time to equip the firebombs bow and pop 1 humanity, which I have since been informed is a waste, and it's just part of the old routing. If you see me toggling my weapons whenever I make a jump, it's to try and avoid doing a superhero landing. And by that, I mean skip the animation of your character recovering from a fall. It's the same idea as mashing roll out of a fall, but say it with me, it's faster. This thing you can get is a ring that gives you 5% extra HP, but you take it off as soon as you get FAP, because it gives you 20. Like, you're not... What starting gift are you really taking over the Master Key where you're like, oh, this is peak? Unless you're like a lore player who loves Spider Mommy, so you take the ring so you can talk to her. But even then, you could trade for it later in the game, so it doesn't really matter. The only good starting gift is Master Key. New Londo Ruins can be a bit of a pain due to the ghost lady blocking the door here. This is what's supposed to happen. You roll to the left side and cause the ghost to move out of the way and run by her, but at this point I was less than consistent with that strategy and had to quit out to reset the aggro. Yes, save quitting is allowed in a glitchless run to avoid fall damage and reset enemy positions and aggro. No, I will not be taking questions at this time. Oh, frames? Once we get to Ingward, I quit out to de-aggro the ghosty poos and line up my crosshair as far up as I can and slightly to the right of him to aim a bomb and then start to pepper him with arrows. All we want here is for him to start running so that we can get that sweet, sweet counter damage, but he doesn't always cooperate. Run! Please. Please. After turning him into a porcupine, we finish the job with bombs, because it's faster, but make sure to save 2 for the Bed of Chaos later. We take the corner wide after jumping across the gap to make the ghost whiff its attack, and also remember to pick up the soul consumable. Souls and leveling up is extremely precise, so we don't want to miss any of those. Will this be world record? Absolutely not. But if it's sub 1 hour, we take those. After opening the door and draining New Londo, I drop down behind the drakes. If I was going for speed, I would just send it, but better safe than sorry, and I sip here before running to them. The drake closest to the ladder will try to bite your ankles on occasion, and I'd rather have a small time loss than have to restart. But we pick up the red tearstone ring, the first piece of the puzzle to our build, and then roll off the tower and spam roll on the way down in hopes that we can keep our momentum and not have a superhero landing. The red tearstone ring is pivotal for speedrunning as it makes us do 50% more damage. The only drawback is we have to be below 20% HP. After making it through the valley, we take the elevator up to the basin, pop the consumable soul that we picked up, equip the red tearstone ring, and do some more inventory cleaning. Then it's once again time for my favorite part of the run, getting the halberd. So are we gonna save time for Black Knight halberd? Place your bets. Please. Come on. Come on, 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 come on. Yeah, buddy. After the halberd, we run up and get the crystal lizard, and then it's off to the parish. After hitting the bonfire, we level up strength to 15 and dexterity to 18. 1, because we're about to obliterate the gargoyles, and 2, so we can get closer to wielding the halberd. It was the run-up of pain and misery, the make-or-break part of the run. I hit a sick McNasty backstep through the big guy's slam and grabbed the Firekeeper soul, and then made my way up the stairs. Keep to the left to make the Balder Knight whiff, and then run through the Chamber of Torment. I was so caught off guard because nothing happened like it was supposed to. The Channeler buffed, but the Hollows were chill today and didn't want to attack. I messed up the shield bash, accidentally killing the guy blocking the doorway, and then almost died to the next one. But I made it through. Put my weapons in their proper spots, and then it was time for the Bell Gargoyles. This fight is absolute cinema, and also just shows how strong you can be so early in the game. We run up to the right side and trigger the fight, and then hope for a good opening attack. Then it's a race to chop off that tail for the axe, quickly swap to that instead of the sword, and then go to town, beating him with his own tail. How do you like them apples? Every 2 hits staggers the gargoyle, and as long as it doesn't randomly decide to backstep and get hyper armor, it's a fairly predictable loop. By the time the second gargoyle even knows what's going on, the first one is dead, and it only takes 2 R1s and an R2 to finish the job on the second one. A bit sloppy on my part, but killing these things so fast makes me feel strong regardless. And at this point, we're a whole 2 minutes ahead of my personal best. Yeah! After the gargoyles, we gotta check our HP at the ladder. If we're at 74 or above, after ringing the bell, we'll drink 1 Estus and drop back down both ladders. And if we're under 74, we drink once and only drop down the second ladder. However, because I'm an absolute moron and forgot the values in the moment, despite having 86 HP, I take the first ladder and only drop down the second one. The drop puts us into RTSR range again so we can kill our second NPC of the run. After buying 4 home bones from Oswald, we dispatch of him quickly. While his dialogue is still active, we hit 3 R1s and stunlock him and then hit him with a juicy backstab to put him down. After getting the humanity, we're out of there. Quelaag is next on the hit list, but before her, it's time to level our strength to 22 so we can finally use the halberd when the time comes. We run back through the parish, and on the elevator, we'll discard the starting sword and the tail axe, equip our bow, and also throw the home bones in the easy-to-access consumable slot. After dropping off the elevator, we run to the lower part of Firelink beyond the bonfire and dispatch Lautric with 2 arrows to the dome. There's a reason I don't play FPS games. The arrows give enough knockback to let gravity do the work, and then we quit out and load back in to collect the FAP ring and even more humanity. Once again, it's time to take the elevator down to New Londo, and on the way, equip the FAP ring and also put on the leather armor in preparation for Blighttown skip. I used the master key to open the shortcut to the Valley of Drakes, and then, I guess we actually haven't really talked about Blighttown skip yet, but it's one of my favorites. After running past all the scary looking troll guys with the 2x4s, I clench my cheeks, and it's time. I start the drop down off the ledge and roll when my feet reach this piece of wood. After landing, wait half a second, feel it with your heart, and backstep. The iframes will negate the fall damage. We take the superhero landing here because my brain is at full capacity, but next up we have to carefully drop off the ledge onto a beam below, and this is where the bow comes in. Aim down sights at this dark patch of texture in the wall, start shooting an arrow, and then I roll 3 times forward and once to the left. QQ says to do 1 forward and 3 left, but sometimes I have to go with what feels more consistent for me. Regardless, I'm down in the poison swamp safely, and the fall damage is negated once again with the iframes of the final roll. No, it's not a glitch. I don't want to hear it. I roll through the rest of the swamp, dodging the big boulders along the way, managing my stamina effectively, and then it's time to equip the halberd and prepare for absolute cinema. Oh, that's right, I forgot to say. My goal is to beat the game in under an hour without skipping the Quelaag cutscene. For reasons. 2 reasons. Do you see Quelaag as a true half-lady, half-spider, or does she give the vibe of a lady riding a spider? I know she and the spider are supposed to be one unit, but they also give off the vibe of 2 separate creatures, and sometimes it looks like she's petting it. Holy. Okay, the strategy of the boss. Right. The fall damage from the skip and the poison from Miyazaki's Fun Swamp get us down into RTSR range eventually, and it's time to stunlock her, or at least try to. Her human body has no poise, so hitting it with anything will interrupt her attacks and keep her stuck in a loop of doing her little stun animation. The R1 of the halberd is exceptionally good for doing this, but the fight was a bit sloppy. Regardless, it's bell time, baby. I popped a flask on my way to bell number 2. I still don't know how much health I need to survive the homebone back, but better safe than sorry. Back in the parish, it's time to level our strength to 27 at the bonfire, upgrade the halberd to +2, and then buy the smith box from Andre. The next boss kill is Sif, and unfortunately for everyone's favorite blacksmith, I'm a bit short on change. After enlisting his services and buying our goodies, Andre's watch has ended. We can run behind him and angle the character slightly to the right and get stuck on his model before delivering a heavy attack and then a light attack right after. Sorry, man. I'll see you in Dark Souls 3. Oh boy, it wouldn't be a speedrun without the running sections, right? It's called speed running, guys. Not speed, constant action and boss kills and entertainment. After getting to the door of the forest proper, gotta quit out and save that in-game time, and then hope and pray that none of the forest hunters are feeling exceptionally brave. As you run past Alvina, you can talk to her and make them drop aggro, and then jump down the ruins and run to the back to pick up the beloved stone armor. The stone armor is for Nito later. Nito scares me. I like to tank Nito. I once again quit out at Sif's door and then run into the arena, swapping to the Black Knight halberd and triggering the fight to start. Sif gets distracted at the beginning just long enough for us to grab the Hornet Ring, and then it's business as usual. I'll let you guys guess what the Hornet Ring's for. Win. A better player than me would kill Sif with RTSR here, but I'm not a better player, and I'm scared. A lot of the Sif fight is just staying under her and going to town on the crotch, but when she repositions, she can clip you for chip damage. And over time, that can add up and become a scary game while being in red Tearstone range. Once again, I played it safe and just followed Sif around the arena. The +2 halberd puts in work and the counter damage can still chunk for a good amount. Not too long of a fight. All dogs go to heaven, I get my Covenant of Artorias, and then immediately homebone back to the parish. This time at the bonfire, we get a cheeky 19 endurance, and then it's time for Sens. Not much to say about Sens. I'm fairly comfy going through Sens. Nothing too special about Sens except this guy. Because he just got scripted bouldered. Send this to all your friends to totally scripted boulder them. I don't set up RTSR for the Iron Golem because we're gonna make him fall off Looney Tunes style. Damage doesn't matter all that much. Kind of. The Golem was surprisingly a big time loss in my runs due to not hitting the right angle of him falling off, but in a perfect world, we run to the left side of the tin can, roll at the crumbled part of the wall, angle a rolling attack back at his heels like smacking yourself with a razor scooter, and then staggering him with a jump R2. After that, you just hit the tip of his foot and the big guy falls down. That's in theory though. I have about a 50% success rate in execution. After a bit of a fumble and a clutch quit out, I gave the big guy another go and got him the second time. Always gotta keep you on your toes. Jump attack, right? There it is. Okay, get the toe. Thank you. After Iron Golem, there's no time to wait for the fire to subside, so we stop, drop, and roll through it, aka block with the shield, and touch the glowing ring as fast as possible. It's a one-way ticket on the Batwing Express to Anne Orlando, and we are zooming. In my previous runs, I would totally grab the main bonfire for safety, but you have to take the training wheels off at some point, so it was straight to the elevator for now. And there's a strat where we can still get that bonfire lit for later. After the elevator, we parkour through the rooftops of angry London and make our way inside to take on the rafters. I heckin' hate the painting guardians, and I heckin' hate the rafters. No brutal backstabs today, but unfortunately clearing this chud out of my way made me lose my footing and my game totally crashed for some reason. No idea how that happened. Fastest quit out in the game, baby. Anyway, I totally didn't die and made it out the other side. The wind was rustling through my neon blue undead beef jerky skin, and I cranked the lever and kept on my way. We're not out of the woods yet though, as I get absolutely railed from behind by one of the Batwing demons and take a little safety quit out. I hate it when a run gets this far, because if it ends, I wasted even more time than if I get chomped on by the drakes. We run past the other winged warriors and up to the silver knights guarding the windows? Really? They cannot get paid enough for this. Hesitation is defeat, and I land the preemptive strike with the halberd and clear my way so I can jump to the safety of the Anne Orlando interior. Speaking of safety bonfires, I will be grabbing this one. Ornstein and Smo are next, and they still play the mental game with me a little bit. Big Scary Duo Boss is big and scary. We set up RTSR on the Silver Knight before the stairs, baiting a slash attack and rapidly swapping weapons to cancel the stagger animation, and then it's a quick jog up the stairs and over the railing to the boss room we go. If I don't get hit for enough, I can take some fall damage by throwing myself down the stairs, but I'm already at RTSR, so I just do a little baby jump. You want to enter Ornstein and Smo's arena at a specific tile on the left side and pray for a good opener. Ornstein can do 3 different ones. A dash, where he gets stuck on Smo, which is ideal, and we run to the left side to meet him. A slow walk up the right side, where we meet him on the right side. And a lightning projectile, where it's GG's and we have to quit out. Lucky for me, it was the first dash, and with the red Tearstone ring, Ornstein goes down in only 3 hits. He always staggers after 2, and the third one puts him down. Super Smo is much easier than Super Ornstein, and is also my preferred phase 2 regardless. Basically, we just play it normal, pray for no scoop, and be prepared to run away from the lightning butt slam. Smo can still be staggered, but unlike Ornstein, it takes 3 hits instead of 2. The damage is insane, and keeping on the pressure makes Smo go down in no time at all. A quick elevator ride brings us to Guinevere's chamber. Yes, more quitouts to save time, but once back in, unfortunately, it's much faster to pop her right son than it is to talk to her, so we loose an arrow, run into the room, and then run out. I do the same trick I did after the asylum to skip the message, and then, saddened by my actions of setting the sun in Anne Orlando, I jump off the ledge. Since I never sat at the main Anne Orlando bonfire after making it dark in the city and dying, I'm automatically respawned at that bonfire. The Dark Moon Nightess isn't here, so the bonfire is active, and we teleport to Firelink Shrine and then jump down Framp's hole to place the Lord Vessel. If speedrunning taught me anything, it's to remember to place the damn Lord Vessel. Just under 30 minutes into the run, we're finally on to the Lord Souls. Not too shabby if you ask me. First on the list is Seath, so we run to the Duke's archives to prepare for another one of my favorite skips. The old Duke skip. But before that, I have to remember to pop my consumable souls on the elevators. You always have to do stuff while doing other stuff, because it's faster. I ran to the next elevator and got out my bow to prepare for cinema. Duke Skip allows you to skip the first Seath encounter as well as avoid a rough prison sentence and getting bullied by Pisakas in the yard. Once at the top of the second elevator, pull the lever again and immediately aim down sights with your bow. From here, roll once to the right, once forward, and once backwards again to position your character on the railing of the elevator. Line up the ammo box of your HUD with this line in the wall texture, and as soon as you see the shiny railing cap thing, roll forward. Be sure to stop aiming as you roll off, and then roll a second time off the banister and onto the ground. The final roll aggroes the archer waiting in the hallway faster and lets you run right by them. After sliding down the ladder crazy style and cranking the lever, which I swear is impossible to pull when you're trying to be fast, it's time for more running through the courtyard and the caves until we have to set up Red Tearstone Ring. A bit of fall damage is all we need, and dropping through the crystal armpit gets us most of the way there. After the first invisible pathway and a close call with the golden golem, we can jump down the second pathway and then immediately turn around to kill 3 crystal lizards lurking below. The most satisfying kills in all of Dark Souls, by the way. Jumping down instead of just dropping also gets us into RTSR threshold. Big dubs. The next part still gives me nightmares, but it's time to use the setup that QQ taught us. Run to the first crystal, and then walk the length of it while aggroing the clams, before cutting to the right and running for the boss arena, hoping and praying they all get stuck, and I can have a clam-free Seath. For the actual Seath fight, it's pretty free using the Red Tearstone Ring. I pre-aim at the crystal with my bow, and then turn the camera to watch Seath as he approaches. After his little animation stutter, I loose an arrow to hit the crystal, swap to the halberd, and it's time to go to town. His first few attacks are pretty scripted, so it's a DPS race to get him down before he can do anything too crazy. Unlucky for me, a clam made its way into the arena, and I had to take my attention off of Seat's big crystal ball in order to save my own skin. I took a bit of damage from nothing in particular, but hey, that's Dark Souls, baby. And Lord Soul number 1 is done at just over 34 minutes. It's safe to homebone as soon as his body hits the ground, and then it's back to Firelink Altar to get some more levels, and I should have also upgraded the halberd here. Oops, the nerves were getting to me a little bit. Nido is next up, and it's a pretty straightforward catacombs route. Pull the lever, drop down because there's nothing more fun than skipping this level, and it's time for Pinwheel. Yippee! This fight is where I realized I had forgotten to upgrade my halberd because Pinwheel took a whopping 4 hits instead of 3. Still though, what a fight. Forgot to upgrade my halberd, bro! Shoot. I was like, why did it not take 3 hits? Fine, we'll do it at the bonfire before Nido. The Tomb of the Giants is a bit tricky without any lights on, but I was taught a foolproof strategy. Run across the first coffin lid thing and around a pile of bones and just send it. If you jump in the right spot, you can roll 3 times and then boom, slide down the final ramp and you made it to Patches. I grabbed the safety bonfire 1 because this part scares me, and 2, I needed to upgrade the halberd before Nido. I also needed to kill Patches for his humanity, and this is where my whole run fell apart. Patches fell down the cliff. His loot, unable to be obtained. I tried resting to make him reset his position, but it was no use. His humanity drop is lost, and I'll need to find another way to get some. I really had no time to waste, but there I was, dilly-dallying. I was supposed to be getting through the Tomb of the Giants. I wish I could explain this part in more detail, but I pretty much just go off vibes. You run through the fog gate and keep going straight, hoping not to get munched on by Femur Fido before dropping down. Then just keep running, carefully avoiding the large skeleton man, and jump up a sloped part of the terrain. Simple as that. I still don't have any visual cues though. I'm just a chill guy who vibes out Tomb of the Giants. The only thing we have to do before Nido is kill our last crystal lizard to max out halberd upgrades. Then it's a straight sprint to the boss, and it's time for the Nido tank strategy. QQ said you can still get a 44-minute run without RTSR Nido. But, looking at that clock, I think we're a bit off pace for that. Regardless, it's time to throw on the Iron Man Mark 1 armor and drop down to fight the big bad skeleton. Typical Nido fight. Nothing crazy here. Oh my gosh. We can homebone out from Nido safely after his sword hits the ground. For those who don't know, if you homebone too fast, the boss will not count as dead and you'll have to do it again. How fun. Yes, it did happen to me during a run. With Nido dead, I went back to Firelink and killed Petrus for his humanity. Unfortunately though, he didn't have enough and I was still short. Where can I get 2 more humanity? What the hell? Oh my gosh, I'm screwed. 4 kings first. Just pivot 4 kings first. The Crestfallen Warrior drops no humanity, and I was in a bit of a panic and thought to pivot to kill the 4 kings first. You get some humanity from them, but ultimately I decided to grab the Firekeeper soul from New Londo and use that as my backup. Looking back now, I'm not sure why I didn't just pivot and kill the 4 kings, but oh well. Major time loss, but the run is still alive. Sort of. After losing all that time to a generational fumble, it was time to hit the Blighttown skip a second time because we need to go have a chat with the fair lady. With 3 gold segments under my belt, I feared they would be in vain because after getting down to the swamp, the hardest skip in the run was looming over me. I was 44 minutes in, and my current projected pace was just shy of an hour, and let's just say the nerves were racking up. I talked to the fair lady's manservant and then popped all of my humanity, making sure I had enough for the shortcut in the demon ruins. I joined her covenant and forked over my hard-earned cash and kept running. I also did decide to grab the demon ruins bonfire for safety. just in case. And it was time to hit the ceaseless skip for the first time ever in a run. I loosed my arrow to distract the Capra Demon, lined myself up with the pillar, and did all the setup that QQ taught me just days before. And then... well, I forgot to do the arrow cancel roll, and I died. So much for the no-death run. Alright. Please let me up. Yes, dude! Oh my gosh. It was very close, but I hit the skip on my second try, and because of how long it takes to kill Ceaseless, I was still ahead of schedule. That was all I needed to restore my confidence in the run, and I sprinted through the demon ruins with ease. I opened the shortcut door to Lost Izalith, and the only thing standing in my way was the big old Titanite demon. The menacing one that one-shots me, and also respawns. Neat. Lucky for me, you can punch his tail and he does the hokey pokey and turns himself around, and there's a window to run right by. That's what it's all about, baby. The last daughter of Chaos could not stop me from killing her mama, and it was time for the bed of Chaos cheese. You know, the firebomb cheese. Everyone knows the firebomb cheese. No more homebone. Whew. Even with my humanity fumble and death during ceaseless skip, I still finished the bed of Chaos split 1.6 seconds faster than my PB. I don't even want to know what my time would have been if I didn't fumble so hard, but there were only 2 bosses left between me and the end of the run. Back to New Londo, we go take on the 4 kings, and it's time to break the Fap Ring in favor of the Covenant of Artorias. Once again, I was not confident enough to do this boss with RTSR active, so I just decided to fight them normally. Because of the extra damage you can deal as they fade into obscurity, it's still possible to get a 3-king fight. You know, because they share the same health bar. But I never learned how to do that, so we end up with a typical 4 kings fight. Nothing fancy. Also, the item I drop at the start of the fight is to be able to orient myself in the abyss and also know where the bonfire will appear. Damn. Thought we could get 3. Because the kings spawn on a timer, the only real time save here is to finish in under 4 kings, but still, not too bad of a split. With my timer now at 56 minutes, all I needed was to run to the kiln and finish without a coincident. I warped back to Firelink and wasted more time with levels that I didn't need, and then jumped into Framp's hole for the final time. I offered the souls to the Lord Vessel, the kiln opened, and the end was in sight. We equipped the Hornet Ring for more riposte damage, and then set up RTSR on the first Black Knight, slowing down to get stabbed in the back, while once again toggling our equipment to animation cancel the stagger. The Gwyn fight has a bit of RNG to it. He opens with the jump attack that we need to parry and riposte, and then he gets up and we hit a regular R1 with the halberd. Then he has a 33% chance to do a fast combo, where the first slash goes over our head and the second can be parried, a 33% chance to do his grab, and a 33% chance to do a slow two-handed swing. My preferred RNG is the fast combo, but it all came down to Miyazaki's blessing. Yes, dude! Let's go! Sub hour! Sub 59! Holy, yo, big shout out to QQ. 58 minutes and 38 seconds. I put Gwyn down in the kiln and achieved my goal of sub 1 hour on what I felt was the sloppiest run that I had in terms of actual strategy. But the time saves were all there, and I can't believe that in just 6 days, I went from an hour and a half to 58 minutes. On my 34th attempt, too. I still had one more day of the challenge, and I still felt I could do much better. Between the time loss of the humanity, some slow boss fights, and death to ceaseless skip, after my sub-hour run, my sum of best segments was just under 51 minutes. I wanted that sub 55. I needed that sub 55. On the 7th day, I tried my heart out to even just get a run going, and I was met with the most unfortunate RNG I had ever seen. So many deaths, and almost all of them in the first 15 minutes of the run. I died to the Banshees, I died to the Drakes, I died getting the Halberd, and I died to the Guards. My best run of the day made it to ONS, but I just couldn't follow through. I took my attempt counter from 34 to 71 in a single stream, and by the end of it, I was losing all hope. Since then, my run counter has soared all the way to 124, and I still have yet to get a good run. But I won't stop, I won't give up, and I'll keep running until I hit my sub 55. This was an insanely fun journey of speedrunning, and again, huge shout out to QQ for all of his help. Be sure to watch him live on Twitch and subscribe to his YouTube. I will be keeping up with my attempts, at least until I hit my sub 55, so tune into a run or two if you feel so inclined. And again, if you want to see the full VOD without my yapping, check it out on Burd VODs.
Thank you again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Play for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile devices by using my links in the pinned comment or description. New and returning players on PC or console that haven't played in the last 6 months will also receive a bonus pack that includes premium vehicles, 100,000 Silver Lions, 7 days of a premium account, and more. The offer is only available for a limited time, so claim yours today.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Shout out to all of my members. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you in the next one.